And 20 questions, isn't that like one of those games where you start and you go, okay, is it bigger than a bread box? No.
People don't even know what a bread box is anymore.
Solving problems with 20 questions. It's Hunt for Wellness, episode number 132. Hello, welcome to Hunt for Wellness. I'm John Hunt.
And I'm Christy Hunt.
And this is the show where we help you live your best life, mind, body, and spirit. And this episode of Hunt for Wellness is brought to you by waterdistillers.com. Great machines providing great water for your great wellness. Check it out at waterdistillers.com. So my first question is, why, if we're doing an episode on 20 questions, is this episode number 132? That's a great question.
That's a question.
That is a question.
That is definitely
a
question.
You can't answer that probably, and because it's just the way it goes. And 20 questions, isn't that like one of those games where you start and you go, okay, is it bigger than a bread box? No.
People don't even know what a bread box is anymore.
I know. But why did they use that as one of the clues?
Because everybody used to know what a bread box was.
Like a loaf of bread is about this big, right? So... yeah. It's either bigger or smaller than
Everybody had a bread box back then.
Okay, well, we're probably not going to have as much fun as people have with that game, but maybe we will.
Because you have to figure, here's the deal, you have to figure out the problem. You have to figure out what it is within 20 questions.
Yeah, right.
So we're kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah, we're doing the same thing, but more on a health, right? And like health issues and maybe some problems you have. And, you know, a lot of times... they say, I don't know who they are, but they say it like, well, I know like in the coaching and consulting industry, when you coach somebody, they kind of know the answer, but you have to get them to get the answer out.
The person who has the issue needs to figure it out.
Right. And oftentimes, it's kind of interesting. Oftentimes in coaching, you ask questions.
That's right.
And it helps people process and learn. So, okay, we are honing in on this now because we want to solve problems.
Right. And a lot of times people, if you just ask them enough questions, can figure out what the situation or what a good solution is for them.
Right. And sometimes you don't have anybody to ask you the questions. So, we're going to give you the questions too, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's not like a random set of 20.
Right.
You actually put together a little handout.
List. Yes.
And if you go over to Hunt4Wellness.com, episode number 132, we'll have that download available there for you.
So when you have a problem, how do you typically solve your problem?
Me? Mm-hmm. Well, I think in problem solving, you first define the problem, and then secondly, you think about potential solutions, and then you take the best solution that you think is the one, and you apply it to the problem, and hopefully the problem goes away.
That would be good.
That's scientific, isn't it?
That's pretty good. But I would say most of the time we are like, oh, I have a problem such as, let's say, my neck hurts.
Yeah.
Oh, my neck hurts. I better go to the chiropractor.
Yeah. So what we do, something hurts, we run off to the chiropractor or
right.
Try to get a quick fix.
Right. Exactly. And without really thinking it through.
Right. And how many times have you gone to the chiropractor? They've kind of adjusted your neck. It feels good. And then like the next day you still have the pain.
Well, sometimes it takes a few days to resolve.
Yeah, I know.
But it comes back quickly. I think that's what you're trying to say.
Right, yeah. And not that the chiropractor is doing a bad job.
No.
It's just that, sometimes you have to go to the root of the problem.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly, which is what we want to help people do.
Right.
Is get to the root of the problem and actually just go a little deeper, think a little deeper.
Right.
With questions.
Yes.
And because a lot of times I believe we can solve our problems ourselves.
Yeah.
With what we have around us, maybe even essential oils.
Well, look at this. People go and they go on Google and they ask question after question after question to find the answer to things, right?
Yeah.
Literally,
yeah.
that's what Google is, right?
So what if we just did that with ourselves?
Yeah. Well,
And tried to resolve those situations ourselves.
you still need to know the questions to ask, though, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because, okay, think about this. If you're going on Google, you're taking time on Google.
Yeah.
You're looking there. Okay, let's say you go to the doctor. You're like, okay, I'm just going to go to the doctor. Just go to the chiropractor, whatever. First of all, you have to call.
Yep.
You have to, or text. Make the appointment. You have to drive over there. You
Yep.
have to be there for the appointment, and then drive back home. So
Right.
all of it takes time and it takes money.
Yeah, and then when you go to the doctor and you say, well, basically I've been doing some research on Google that you don't listen to anything you just read on Google
Right, I
because
know.
you don't know if it's true or not. So
Right.
Now we're back to the basic questions.
But what I'm saying is it takes time and money
Yeah.
to go to outside resources.
Yes.
So first, try going to the inside resources.
Yes, triage.
Yes.
Be your own person that takes and evaluates yourself.
And you care most about yourself.
That's right.
So that's really good. And another thing is 80% of our health problems have emotional roots.
Mm-hmm.
And if an emotional root is solved, that helps solve the rest of the problem. If there's a physical problem, it helps to solve that
Right.
too. Might not solve immediately, but it could. It could.
Yeah. Well, that kind of goes back to you get the pain in the neck. What you want to do is fix the pain. But the pain in the neck might be caused by an emotion from someone who's been a pain in the neck to you.
Exactly. Exactly. So maybe the solution is not going to the chiropractor,
It's going
but
to that other person.
either solving the problem with the other
Yes,
person,
yes.
solving the
Absolutely.
forgiving, talking to them about it, or just changing your lifestyle so that person's not in it.
Right.
So let's talk about that. And these questions you can ask yourself. It's great to write the answers down. You could also dialogue with somebody about it, but not asking for their opinion necessarily.
Right. They're not the ones supposed to answer the questions.
Right. You, the person that has the issue, should be the one answering the questions, not having someone else. They can listen to you, but
This reminds me, too, we just did a podcast episode. I think it was number 131, as a matter of fact, last time, on, getting inside your head. And we talked about, the Neurocycle app, and which is kind of like this, too. It's, really taking time to analyze, what are your thoughts? What are you thinking? And this is going to help you with that because you're asking yourself questions and you're going to answer them.
Right. So let's just take a situation like I am stressed out. This project is too much for me.
I'm sorry to hear about that.
Yes. So here, ask what exactly is stressing me out?
Yeah.
And why am I allowing myself to be stressed out? Because actually no project in itself can stress a person.
Right.
That is a response. So is it because I don't have enough time to work on the project? Is that the stress? Or is it too complicated? Or how can I allow myself to work more on it?
And sometimes you have to peel away the layers of the onion. So you might have to say, well, why is that? Well, why is that?
Yeah.
Well, why is that?
Seven layers of why.
It's the 7 layers of whys.
To get why.
Yeah, whys. Y, W-H-Y.
S.
Apostrophe S, or is it just regular S? Okay, yeah.
All the why reasons. Okay.
This could get into one of those Abbott and Costello. You're wise? What do you mean you're wise? I didn't think you were that wise, but what about your wise? Okay, sorry.
All right. And is there something in this project that's difficult? And what is difficult? And why is it difficult for me? And is there another way to look at it? Is there something that could make the difficult part easier? Is there someone else involved in the project, or should there be someone else involved?
Mm-hmm.
How can we resolve talking about the problems? And so anyways, that is just a purely an emotional reaction.
Yeah.
An example?
I think it's good also to mention here that, you're going to need to take some time away from your busy day to just reflect, because this is not something you do like while you're, driving your car and, in the middle of traffic, and take a time, schedule a time with yourself, and
15 minutes.
Yeah, you don't need a ton of time,
No.
but you need time where you're not distracted.
Right.
So,
and it might be at the end of the day.
It might be at the beginning of the day.
It might be at the beginning of the day, or it could be during a lunch
Depends
hour.
on when you believe the day starts, either in the night or in the morning. But okay.
Okay, so some questions. Okay, and that was an emotional question. There could be a physical one too, like your back is hurting.
Right.
So when did this start? When was something going on around that time when it started? Was I worried about something?
It's kind of like a detective work,
too. It really is.
Yeah.
It is detective. So I made some questions that can be applied to any situation. So it's not going to be perfect for every situation.
And then you might think of another question when you ask one of these questions.
Right.
So feel free to do that. This is just like a base guide.
This is a guide.
Are you going to go through all 20? Or are you going to have them go to the website and download it?
I will go through a few of them.
Just do a few, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
could be here a long time.
20 minutes.
Yes.
No. Okay. So when did the situation begin?
Yes.
And you might think, oh, it was just last week. But oh, wait, I had this 5 years ago also. So how long has it really been going on?
That's what insurance companies do when you put a claim in. Okay, like when did that accident happen? What time of day? And, where was the intersection?
Yeah.
So it's getting some of the background facts. And you might think, well, why ask when it began? The problem is I've got it now. But sometimes just realizing, you might say, well, I've had it for a few days. You might have had it for a few years.
Right.
And you've just been ignoring it.
Right. And sometimes other people know a lot more about how long you've had it than you do.
Yeah.
So you might want to ask some close family members or friends.
Have I been complaining about this for a while?
Yeah. Because they might know more than you do.
Yeah.
And the important thing about asking when it started is what was going on around that time.
Yeah.
Think about that, because often, it's interesting. Some people will say, oh, yeah, I've had it for about 3 years. Yeah. No, nothing stressful is going on. Yeah. My mom passed away around that time, but yeah, it's like, oh, there's a clue.
Yeah.
Or I lost my job at that time.
Right.
Or, a
lot of bills coming in.
Right. Something happened. And it's like, that is important because that impacted you.
Right. And not only the thing that happened, but how are you feeling? Right? What was your feeling? What was your physical feeling? What was your emotional feeling?
Right.
What were you thinking in your mind, at that time, if you could recreate the scene?
Right. Because that's going to give you a clue to the root of this and the emotions related to this.
We also did another podcast on emotions. I think we've done several.
Yeah.
We'll link that in the show notes over at Hunt4Wellness.com. This is episode 132, so we'll have the link on that episode page. But yeah, we've had a couple where, we go more into that, 80% of the problems are caused by emotions.
Right.
People don't like to acknowledge that. But it's really true.
It is. And if you can solve that emotional problem, and we have tools to do that, that we've talked about,
Absolutely.
Pinpoint the emotion. And actually, essential oils help you release those emotions along with prayer and just speaking it out.
Yep.
So that is why dealing with emotions and being aware of them is really important.
Right.
And releasing those can just help you feel better and live a better, happier, healthier life.
Right.
So just some other things, other questions. what makes your situation worse? You know, let's say it's pain. What increases the pain? Emotional pain, physical
What's the
pain.
trigger?
Right. Is there something that makes it better? Where are you feeling it? And have you actually looked at the spot that you're feeling it?
Yeah.
In fact, we were walking with some friends and the person had a problem on the foot. And they're like, oh my gosh. And so I said, let's look at your foot. And because we were going to actually just pray for the foot, you know, we looked at the foot. There was a sliver in the foot. That was the problem.
Yeah.
So it is definitely important to look at the area, examine it, and see what exactly is going on.
Yes, I didn't realize I stepped on a piece of wood. It's now gouging my toe.
Right. There's a good reason why that's hurting. So do look at the situation. If you physically cannot look at it, have someone else look at it.
Yeah.
So you know what's going on. And then what does it look like completely resolved? If this situation could be completely resolved, what would that look like?
Yeah.
And what are options? What are things you could do? Like essential oils, a raindrop technique, emotional release, or what other things could you do to help this? And what are you willing to do?
We'll also link in the notes the emotional release episode. That's we talk about it in that one. There's a couple other ones too, but that's a good one where there is a procedure that you can go through to release these emotions that are kind of hard. So definitely check that out. There's even an oil collection that assists you with that as well.
Yes, the feelings collection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, even if you've had a problem for a long time, maybe there's a way to help resolve it or mitigate it yourself.
Right.
By things you can do now. Maybe it's the answer is getting more sleep.
Yep.
You know? And that's an issue for weight gain.
Yeah.
If you have weight gain, one of the most important things is getting enough sleep.
Yeah. It's kind of amazing, isn't it?
It is. So those are things that you can do in your own house, in your own bed.
Yes. Very good. All right. I've asked you 19 questions now. I have one more question to ask you.
Okay. What is it?
Is there anything else you want to cover before we wrap up this episode? Because we're about done.
Oh, yeah. No, there's nothing else.
We have resolved the problem.
We have solved the problem.
This is awesome. You can go over to Hunt4Wellness.com, episode 132, get the list of questions, and you are on your way.
Yes.
All right. Well, this episode of Hunt for Wellness brought to you by waterdistillers.com. Great machines providing great water for your great wellness. Check it out at waterdistillers.com. And we'll be back next time for episode 133. And until then, it's 2019, 87, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are out.